Namaste everybody and welcome to Aapka Pundit. I have a very simple question for you. How sure are you about your birth time? Does it come from a birth certificate or does it come from somebody's memory? Well, either which ways, if it comes from a birth certificate, then it has to be pretty reliable. And I say pretty because we can never be sure unless we have done this exercise. So stay tuned. To determine the correct birth time, what we have to do is we have to go through a series of bio events. And what I mean by bio events is we have to verify certain time in your life and certain biofacts like your sibling. If you have children, what was the time of their birth, whether this corresponds to your birth time, your birth chart, or it does not. What was the time when you got married? Does that correspond? Does that show up in your birth chart or it doesn't? These are the things that we have to verify. And today we are going to do that by using the chart of a celebrity. Well, not only a celebrity, but also royalty. Yes, I am talking about Meghan Markel. And we are going to use her chart to demonstrate exactly this phenomenon. Meghan Markel's birth time comes from her birth certificate, and it gives a time of 4:46 a.m. in the morning. And I'm going to upload the data as well as the document that you see in the background to our website, which is www.aapkapundit.com, and you can go through the entire analysis that I have done here, which I'm going to explain to you right now. So her time is 4:46 a.m. But what that does is it puts her lagna right on the edge. So if you back up her lagna 4 minutes, which means if you back it up to 4:42 a.m., her ascendant changes. And from Cancer ascendant, she goes to a Gemini ascendant, which, does not change the position of the planets, but it changes the lordships, which in turn will change a lot of things. And because it's on the cusp of Gemini and Cancer, it would also change Navamsha. So let's do the exercise and let's start with our first parameter. Chart that you see in the background, the first chart, which is chart 1, that corresponds to the time of 4:42 a.m. and the chart 2 corresponds to the time of 4:46 a.m., which is her birth time recorded in a birth certificate. So let's evaluate both the charts. In the first chart, we see that the Lagna Lord, which is Mercury, goes to the second house and is on the Rahu Ketu axis. Plus, on the Lagna, we see the influence of Mars, which is in the Lagna itself. And then there's an aspect of Saturn. Now, this is a malefic influence on the Lagna, which should, give some kind of a chronic disease, because not only is the Lagna afflicted, the Lagna Lord is also afflicted. But one thing that I would like to tell you is that if you look carefully, the Lagna Lord is in an exchange with Moon. There's a Moon Mercury exchange, which renders the Lagna Lord strong. And because it's on the last degree of Gemini, the Lagna itself becomes Vargottama. These two factors, just by themselves add a lot of strength to the Lagna and the Lagna Lord. So, a lot of the negative factors do go down in their severity. If you look at chart 2, you see Cancer ascendant, and the Lord Moon goes to the third house, and there is Saturn and Jupiter with it. And the Lagna itself has the Rahu is on the Rahu Ketu axis. And the Lagna Lord is also aspected by Mars there. So there is affliction there also. But again, even in this case, what happens is Mercury and Moon exchange. So the Lagna Lord is having an exchange in this case. And the Lagna itself is Vargottama. Again, those two factors which makes the Lagna and Lagna Lord very, very strong. So just based on these two factors, because the fact that we also don't know her nature, we really cannot judge as to which one fits the bill more correctly. So, unfortunately, this is not something that can decide her correct Lagna. So we will move forward and go with our second parameter. One thing that we have to keep in mind is when it comes to Meghan Markle, we do not have too much information about her. So we are a little restricted, for her chart. But still, this is a very good exercise simply because her lagna is right on the edge. And so moving on from her D1 chart, which is her main chart, we move her to her Navamsha. And we know that she has been married once and she was divorced, and now she's again going to marry Prince Harry, which is going to be in May, I believe, of 2018. So there are three important dates to remember here. The first date is September 2011, I believe. Yes, it's in the document there, which is going to be available on the website. So September 10th, 2011 is when her first marriage took place, and her divorce took place in August of 2013. And again, her proposed marriage is in May of 2018. So those are the three dates to remember. And when her first marriage took place, that was the time period of Rahu, Venus, and Mercury. Now, in both Navamshas, as well as the D1, do you see anything that makes Rahu, Venus, Mercury very capable of giving marriage? So let's start with the D1 first. And in the background, I'm going to change the slide and bring it to the page where it has the charts. So in the first chart, in the Gemini ascendant, Rahu, Venus, Mercury. Remember that. That it's really not a very convincing factor. But if you see the Cancer chart, you have Rahu and Mercury on the 1-7 axis. So that become Rahu just because of the fact that it's on the 1-7 axis, just by that factor itself can bring about marriage. But the most important thing that we need to realize is Rahu Venus and Venus Rahu are two planets independent of their disposition or its placement or its lordship in the chart. It can independently give marriage irrespective of which lagna you have or where it's placed. Rahu, Venus, Venus, Rahu, remember that, can give marriage. So, those are very, very fruitful period when it comes to marriage. So let's look at the Navamsha now. In the Gemini Navamsha, we have Rahu Venus on the 1-4 axis, and then Mercury in the fifth house, aspected by the seventh lord. So yes, it's definitely possible that it can bring about marriage. And then we have Rahu Venus in the Cancer lagna in the third house, and then Mercury again aspected by the seventh lord Saturn here. So again, I mean, those are both charts which could show that Rahu, Venus, Mercury could bring about her marriage. So just based on that factor alone, I don't think we can determine whether it's Cancer or it's Gemini. But here is the real test of the Navamsha. There is a dasha which is in the Gemini system, which is applicable in the Navamsha only, and it's not a dasha that you use just to see marriage. You can see every events of a person's life just based on that dasha itself, and it's only applicable in the Navamsha, and it's a very, very strong tool for prediction. Now, when we use that dasha in the Cancer ascendant Navamsha, we get the Libra period. This Libra period runs from 2009 to 2021. And remember, her first marriage rather, happened in 2011. Her next proposed marriage is supposed to happen in 2018. This entire period, which encompasses her relationship, her karmas with relationship, has happened in the Libra period. And what do you see in Libra? You have Mercury there, but that's not the important part. What you have in the seventh house from Mercury is Moon. That Moon is the Darakarka, or the planet with the lowest degree, and which in the Gemini system does signify marriage. So it's a very, very strong indicator that the Cancer ascendant could be the right Navamsha. And apart from that, we also have the Arudha of the seventh house that aspects Libra. We also have the Upapada, which is the 12th Arudha that aspects Libra. So there are multiple multiple factors that could very strongly indicate towards a Libra period marriage, which would only happen in the Cancer ascendant in the Navamsha. And if we go to Gemini, the same period that we talk about, 2009 to 2021, that is encompassed by Capricorn and Taurus periods. Now, Capricorn really does not, give any indication. It's neither aspected by Venus, nor is aspected by the Darakaraka, nor is the Darakaraka falling seventh from there, nor it's aspecting. It's aspecting the seventh, but it's the factors in Cancer are much more stronger. And if you look at the Taurus period, from there, the Darakaraka actually goes to the 12th. So not a very very a strong period, I would say. So this, just using this dasha itself, which is, like I said, a very very potent dasha, tilts the favor in favor of the Cancer ascendant in the Navamsha. And also remember this, that she is now going to be married in the Vimshotri dasha in the Jupiter Saturn Mercury period. Remember, Jupiter Saturn Mercury. Now, this could very well be indicated in the Gemini Navamsha as well, because Jupiter rules the seventh house. It's Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury are on the 1-7 axis from Jupiter. So, that's a strong indication. But if you look at the Cancer Navamsha, Saturn is the seventh lord, and being the seventh lord, it is with Jupiter, and since all planets have this 1-7 relationship, and all planets are aspected by the seventh lord, that is a strong indication as well. So just based on Vimshotri, this does not really give you the clear indication. But there is one thing that I want to point out too, which is that it's the Mercury subperiod. And even the first marriage took place in the Mercury subperiod. So, in all the books that Mark Boni has written, my Jyotish Guru, and that Sri K. N. Rao has written, in all the books they have emphasized on the Paryantar Dasha, which is the sub period, because that is what triggers the event. And in the case of Cancer Navamsha, what we see is that not in the case of Cancer Navamsha, but in the case of Cancer Ascendant, what we see is that the Mercury falls on the 1-7 axis. So again, a very strong indication when it comes to the Cancer Lagna and the Ascendant. There is another thing in the chart that I want to draw your attention to when it comes to the Cancer Ascendant. We know that her marriage is going to take place in Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and I think for sure she would be moving to England once she's married to Prince Harry, and that would happen in Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury. Now look at the Cancer Ascendant chart. Jupiter, Saturn, the two planets in the third house, which is the house of movement. It's the 12th from the 4th, so moving away. And Mercury ruling the third house. So that again definitely tilts the favor in favor of for me in favor of Cancer rather than the Gemini ascendant. So yeah, based on the relationship factors on the marriage and the other issues when it comes to the Navamsha, I think the Cancer ascendant fits the bill better than the Gemini ascendant. So now let's move to the next parameter, which is extremely important, but it's something that we don't have the information for, and that is children. We don't know whether she's ever had children or not. As far as the public information, she's never had children. But the fact that she is 36 years of age right now, she's 36 years old right now, and by the time she gets married, she'll be 37, and even if she conceives right after marriage, and the delivery would probably be right before she would be turning 38, by any account, that is a delayed childbirth. Now, well, is there anything that points to a delayed childbirth in the Gemini ascendant chart? Well, I don't think so. Simply because the fifth lord, Venus, goes to the third house, is unaspected. The fifth house is unaspected. So there really should not be any delay when it comes to childbirth. But if you look at the Cancer ascendant chart, the fifth lord goes to the 12th house, and the fifth house gets the aspect of Saturn. I mean, that's a serious delay right there. And since you're talking about children, we have to look at the Saptamsha. So let me bring up the Saptamsha chart right here for you. And here you go. So chart 1, which is the Gemini ascendant chart, for that the Saptamsha that you get is Sagittarius ascendant Saptamsha. The fifth lord becomes Mars, which goes to the 11th and aspects onto its own house. The Lagna itself has Venus and Jupiter there, and then Jupiter aspects onto the fifth lord as well. So really no reason for any type of delay. But if you look at the second chart, which is for the Cancer ascendant chart, the ascendant that you get for the Saptamsha is the Capricorn ascendant, and there you see the fifth house. It has Saturn and aspected by Mars. The Lord itself goes to the 12th house. So Venus, the fifth Lord, goes to the 12th house, and there is the additional influence of Sun onto the fifth house, which is also the 8th Lord. So that would very strongly favor the Cancer ascendant again. And so these are just what we did with this chart were just some of the basic parameters which are absolutely necessary to look at when it comes to verifying a lagna. We look at many other factors, but unfortunately, since we do not have more data here, this is the extent to which we can do that. But we will do a similar exercise with someone's chart who's famous and whose life is well documented, so that we can go over a lot more parameters. But this is a very good start, I believe. And I would encourage everybody out there who is a practicing Jyotishi to definitely go through this exercise to make sure that they're looking at the right chart, because there's no point giving predictions on chart which do not have the right birth time. So with that, I would like to request you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also like our YouTube channel, and also like us on our Facebook page. And all the articles that we share here, all the videos that we share here, are also uploaded onto our website, which is www.aapkapundit.com. So please do remember to go there, check our videos, check the articles, and we'll have a lot more for you very shortly. Till that time, namaste.